beach. It's actually a turtle nesting beach. So yeah, we're not as well known as Monrepo, Bundaberg, those kind of places. We do get them. 15 nests in a year would be a really good year for us, but we still get them, and it's still nice to have them. And that's our green turtles and the flatbacks.
They're beautiful, but I like them.
Yeah. I like them because they eat jellyfish. So the more turtles there are, the less jellyfish there are. This is next place. This wasn't always the backpackers, so that's their bar and restaurant. It's not a bad spot. This started out at North Queensland's first aquarium. This was known as Marine Gardens in 1967, but it closed down in the 90s and became the backpackers. Beautiful spot. The chalets up here, so I believe it's the only backpackers in Australia with absolute beach frontage. Not a bad little spot though, next door to our golf club. World famous, this thing. It's up there with Augusta and St Andrews on the world stage. Yeah, you've heard of Greg Norman?
Oh, yeah,
Once or twice. So he's on record as saying Magnetic Island has one of his favourite holes of golf anywhere on the planet.
Oh, okay.
He reckons it's got one of the toughest holes of golf he's ever played.
There you go.
See a Telstra tower. What's at the top of the Telstra tower?
Bird nest.
Big bird's nest.
Is that legal?
Ospreys.
Ospreys.
Yeah. They're not around at the moment. May through to October is nesting season for these guys. They managed. So we're going down to Cockle Bay. This is a ghost town that we've got on the island. I'm going to let you folks try and work out why. But if you look out your window on the right, that's why they came. That's Townsville over there.
Yeah. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, she's only 8 kilometres from here, and it's really, really shallow. Even now, really high tide, that's probably only about 6 metres deep at its deepest point. Castle Hill, Ryan National Stewart.
Castle Hill.
You've got the stand running on the front, you've got the port on the left hand side. The fourth largest port in Northern. No, this was the rules for this one. The van, if there was I built a jetty. You get to steam ferry. People can now. We've got now a teacher can come over 3 days a week. You can get your produce to the mainland easily. It's all kind of tied in with island life. Knock knock. How are we doing? So yeah, this is the museum. As I said, basically this room's always about butlers. This room changes every year, so this year we're looking at 1920 versus 2020. It's quite pictorial, this one. But, you can ask myself questions, you can ask our lovely volunteers questions. That's not taxidermy, by the way. It's actually a lady who makes them on the island. That's Lynn. Make cotton. So these are our kind of 3 main early characters. You got this is Butlers, this is Hales, and that's Bright. Sit down in Taronga Zoo. So we do have our Picnic Bay jetty though. Very lucky to have this because they tried to get rid of this too. 2004 they declared it derelict, they're going to knock it down. The island comes together and we managed to have an argument that was stronger than it's a pet. This is now heritage listed, which is really good for us because heritage listed in 2010.
I've seen that on hand somewhere.
Picnic Bay. The jetty.
Yeah, the jetty sounds good.
It's probably very similar to the Maldives.
I didn't know this is where Hilly said you go for a swim.
No, Horseshoe Bay.
There's a pub there and then...
Yeah, that's Horseshoe Bay. This is Picnic Bay. Very lovely. Picnic Bay jetty. Now heritage listed. Been around since 1770. And 2010, the Queensland government funded a $500,000 refurbishment of the jetty, consistent with the heritage listing guidelines, which was completed in November 2010. casting your nets. The swimming, and of course Castle Hill, Townsville, the port. Camping on this jetty is prohibited. There you go. But obviously plenty of fishing. Back to the mainland, to the magnetic island itself.
People freak out and they climb over the barrier. So on the grounds of boat safety, they built us a very nice little walkway. So about 10 years ago they built this thing. Elders have given permission to call it Garble Way. Garble is part of their creation story. He's traced a lot of the landforms around here, Magnetic Island, Palm Island, so it gives them that little link into their story and their country. It's nice.
So we're here at Jeffrey Bay on Magnetic Island, where the wallabies are. It's the water in the background and back towards Nelly Bay, but we'll see what we see. Lots of... Oh, here they are, in the background. Just in there. Do you want some pallets? Is it in the grass?
Yeah, that one grass.
Oh, it's so tiny. Just there. Gonna come around the walk through the caves.
Guessing there's one over there, judging by people with cameras. That's always a good sign. Did it run away? Did it? No. Build it. Yeah. Unfortunately, pressurised.
Hang on to your hat here. There you go, there's a little cave. You can definitely smell the living here.
Marine park, basically no fishing. Right? You get caught fishing in this bay, $2,100 fine.
last word, right? Yeah, no, no.
You ready? So we've got about 140 species of fish around the island at the moment. Here he comes.
And the seagulls.
Go, go. Fine.
You bring him over.
Well, down at Horseshoe Bay on Magnetic Island. Just had some lunch and a couple of drinks, and now we're heading back to the bus. Just show you around here. So that's the pub and Horseshoe Bay. Fantastic stinger net for swimming with full-on stingers. It's the season for it. A fantastic place though. There you go. Actually says stinger nets in Townsville, November to May. You can actually scan there and find out the information.
Man,
Alright. Come on in, see what we can find, eh?
It's a bit like Tamarind Mountain.
Yeah. Stuck in there, be awesome too. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Alright. What do we know about fish?
Not a lot. Not a lot, not a lot.
They're wet and they're tasty, does that work for you?
Oh, not even tasty.
I'll teach you, it's really simple, right? Whatever it looks like is whatever it's called. They look like a brain, it's a brain coral. It's a suckerfish, yeah. Remora. So his sucker that he's got there is actually an evolutionary adaptation of a fin. And it's folded over and he sticks on the bottom of rays and stuff. So that's your world's laziest fish. The ones that are looking at him, the black and white ones there, are some of the most successful fish in the Barrier Reef. It's your spiny chromis. Spiny chromis looks after its babies, which is unusual for Barrier Reef fish. So even lets the babies eat mucus off his skin. There's that, eh? Oh, parent's awful.
yeah.
Oh, he's sticking to the side. Look at that.
Yeah.
You know who the world's worst parents are? Koala parents.
Really?
Yeah, so koalas, gummies are toxic. And the adults have an enzyme that breaks down the toxins. The baby koalas don't have that enzyme. It comes from mom's gut. She transfers it to the baby. So do you know how she does it? She's got to eat some of mom's poo. Poor koala, he's sitting there one day having a nice glass of milk and he's saying, mom saying, have some of this. Tasty. Good for you, son. Best fish for tourists ever, Tierra batfish. It's got no teeth. Oh, God. So the little bubbles in that tank, that's the algae in the tank producing oxygen.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's a male bird-nosed wrasse. So he's got the ability to stick that nose down into gaps in the coral that other fish can't get to. And the blue one is the blue devil, or the yellow-tailed blue damselfin. But he hasn't got a yellow tail. That's because he's female.
This one's
Yeah, grumpy.
is it? What is it?
Tierra batfish.
Oh, batfish. Oh,
So batfish you'll probably know, the big ones.
yeah.
And if you jump on a tour boat on the reef, which Sundays I'll find a big school of batfish and let you swim amongst them, chuck a whole heap of food in. But they haven't got any teeth. So if you can find ones that are really friendly, stick your finger in and they'll come suck your finger. It's quite an odd experience because it's like they've got like a hard gum kind of thing, rough gum.
Yep.
So yeah. So that's one of Rick's babies. That giant clam, yeah. So she unfortunately died 4 years ago. But Rick grew that from an egg. So in 1986, yeah, he breeds them. So that's a 30-year-old giant clam. So she used to live in the tank at the front. But remember I said these are built in 1967, these tanks. They're only fiberglass. And unfortunately 100 kilograms hardly enclosing every day. Eventually weak at the bottom of the tank, she cracked. That poor guy there has been given the world's worst Latin name. Brown spotted scad.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, but his Latin name is Scatophagus. Scatophagus. You know what that means? Well, you know what a phagus is because you've got an esophagus. You've got a swallower.
Yeah,
Scat, swallow. Two swallow.
Oh, yeah.
It's not right. It's the wrong name. But they misnamed him. Alright, there's Dory. So Dory in the film, Dory behaves exactly the way she does in real life. She does a funny little thing. They got the rest of it wrong though. Oh, they got a lot right in Nemo, they got a lot wrong too. In Nemo, if you've seen the film, Nemo's mom dies, Nemo goes missing, Nemo's dad goes over to Nemo. In the real world, these are all born, anemone fish are all born as males. That's a Clarkson anemone fish. That's Fiji, New Guinea. That's not a clownfish, but it's a Clarkson anemone fish. So in the real world, they're all born as males. So if the female, she's the dominant one, if she dies, the dominant male changes sex, becomes female. But Nemo's dad should have changed it to Nemo's mom. And then Nemo should have been breeding with his dad.
Which is good.
So that's the reason they didn't put it in the movie.
Yeah.
This is Rick's life on a wall, basically. So Rick's out there chatting to someone. So 1982, collects what he needs on the reef, breeds them up in the lab. That is a clam larvae. It is 0.15 millimeters in size. The biggest they've ever found the giant clams is 1.5 meters, over 400 kilograms.
Oh wow.
There's a big growth rate. So these guys swim around for about 7 or 10 days. Once they're swimming around, they start growing a foot. And after about 10 days, they've grown the foot. They can't swim anymore. And they push themselves around the ocean floor and they find a spot that they like and then they grow. So that is Rick, looking very happy in 1996 with some of his clams. These are some of his clams coming out of Orpheus Island to Magnetic Island. So there were 6,000 clams up at Orpheus Island and they were all moved around the Whitsundays and the Barrier Reef region. They restocked huge areas, so that's just up off Horseshoe Bay, right? So, what does a clam eat? Big clam like that, what does it eat? Fish? People?
No.
You stick your hand in, it's going to snap shut?
In the ocean, the little particles that things like whales and
Plankton.
plankton, that's it.
Yeah, they get up to 30% of their energy comes out of plankton, so that's still a deficit of 70%. So, all these beautiful colours in clam flesh caused by this stuff, which is zooxanthellae algae. Exactly the same stuff coral gets, which gives it colour. The zooxanthellae algae gets a home in the clam. What the clam gets in return is it eats the sugar and protein that the algae produces. Photosynthesizes. What's the other thing that photosynthesis produces? Sugar, protein, and oxygen. Yeah, plants photosynthesize.
They do.
So, 50 to 80% of your planet's oxygen is actually made in the ocean. We look after your oceans just a bit better than we are at the moment. These are striped mullets. There's another Clarkson anemone. And there's Nemo hiding down there. So Rick breeds them in those little terracotta pots that's pretending to be a cave. And they like to lay their eggs in caves. They have several hundred eggs twice a month. The parents will clean out any bad eggs, fungus, all that kind of stuff. So, the reason we can do all this... Yeah. Well, it's funny how they play. They do kind of play in the anemones. So, anemones generally got stinging tentacles. If you go diving and you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it. Because it will give you a nasty shock. What the anemones fish has done is he's developed a thicker layer of mucus on his skin so he doesn't get stung. And what the anemone gets out of the whole deal is he gets to eat the fish that try and eat Nemo. So it's another beneficial relationship in there. So what Rick's doing, he cultures this stuff, okay, phytoplankton. When these are first born, they eat herbivorous zooplankton. Herbivorous zooplankton eats phytoplankton. When the fish get a bit bigger, they move on to carnivorous zooplankton, which eats the herbivorous zooplankton, which eats the phytoplankton. So Rick grows the food for the food for the food for the fish. That's how we can do the whole thing. So that's his commercial side out the front, but I think it's slowing down a bit now. He has had success with the aquaculturing, so Tahiti's doing it, Fiji's doing it, Philippines got incredible systems. Rick didn't set that up, he was on the team that set that up. And China's thinking about it. Unsurprisingly, they've eaten all their plants. Their plants left in only for 4 years.